Hi artists, today we're going to be making pictures of still lifes with apples. I'm going to show you how it's done. We're going to have a great time. Let's get started. To begin your still life picture, you're going to need to start off with a piece of paper, a pencil, and a bowl. A lot of times artists will set up a still life for themselves with real objects. So if you do have some apples around the house, feel free to actually put them in a bowl and take a look at what they look like and draw from observation. If you would like to imagine your still life like I'm going to do, that's fine too. Here we go. Now with my bowl, I'm actually going to use my bowl to create my bowl. I'm going to have to trace half of this bowl, which is a circle shape, somewhere on the paper. And I'm going to leave it up to you as to where you want your bowl to be. Maybe your bowl of apples is in the middle of the paper. Maybe it's on the left side. Maybe it's on the right side. Maybe it's high in the picture. Maybe it's low. It's really up to you. I'm going to put mine right over here. Now this is going to be kind of tricky. Usually when we trace things, we trace the whole shape. For this activity, we're not going to trace the whole shape. I want you to trace half of the circle. Do your best with that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now I traced half the bowl, which creates a semicircular shape, and I'm going to close the shape off with a line at the top. Does the line have to be perfectly straight? No, in real life, some bowls have designs at the top. They're a little bit wavy. It's okay if your line at the top isn't perfectly straight. If you'd like it to be very straight, feel free to use a ruler or a book to lean on or something to help you out. Now comes the tricky part. We're gonna add in our apples. If you have a real apple at home, like I mentioned before, feel free to have that on hand to take a look at it so you could see what the shape of an apple looks like, the colors it has, the textures it has, what the stem looks like. If you don't have an apple on hand, that's okay too. We can kind of make things up as we go along. I like doing that. Now, what I want to do is I want to put some apples inside the bowl. When I look at apples, they do look like a circular shape or an oval shape, but are they perfect circles or ovals? No way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a shape inside the bowl. And I'm going to start by making kind of a curved line. Then I'm going to have it dip a little bit. That's going to represent the part where the stem is in the apple. And I'm going to curve that back down. So I have one apple in my bowl. I want to fit some more in. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add another apple, but I'm going to do something tricky. I'm going to make it look like this apple is a little bit behind my first apple. That's called overlapping. I'm going to do that again over here. I'm going to add a semicircular shape. And I have 1, 2, 3 apples in the bowl. If you want to keep going with that, feel free. Maybe you have a lot of apples in the bowl. Maybe I have one over here. So that one looks like this one is behind the first two. Maybe I have one over here. You don't want to make it too full. You don't have to go overboard, but feel free to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6, maybe 7. I don't know, it's up to you. You can put as many apples in the bowl as you can fit. Now I want to make the picture look a little bit more interesting. If all the apples are just in the bowl, I have to figure out, what else am I going to do for all the empty space? Maybe I want to be like Cezanne. The artist Paul Cezanne, in the pictures you saw in Google Classroom, he often made pictures of fruit outside of the bowl, on the table, so feel free to do that too. What I'm doing now is I'm drawing an apple shape, and I'm going to overlap it and make it look like it's in front of the bowl, but I have a problem. I do not want this line showing. If I erase this line, it'll make it look like the apple is in front of the bowl. So try doing that. That's called overlapping. Artists do it all the time. Maybe I want to make another apple over here. Maybe there's another one on the table. And feel free to do whatever shape you'd like to for an apple. It can be a shape like this. It can even just be a circle shape if you want to. That's totally, totally fine. Now over here, I want to make my picture a little bit more interesting. Maybe I have an apple that fell out of the bowl, and this apple just kind of fell over and it's on its side. So feel free to kind of add things in as you wish. Now it kind of looks like all the stuff is floating. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to add a line in the background. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a line on this side of the bowl, and I'm gonna add a line on the other side of the bowl to make it look like this is my table line. Now to make my apples look more like apples, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a stem, and I have a really great stem trick. I like to make a curved line, and then I like to make a line going upwards to make it look like a stem, and it makes it look quite realistic. Feel free to do that to all of your apples. I'm gonna add a curved line, kind of like a smile line, and then I'm gonna add a stem shape. Curve line, stem, curve, stem, curve, stem. This is quite satisfying to do. I hope you enjoy this part. I think this is my favorite part, adding the stems. Ooh, okay. So this one is a little bit tricky because this one fell over. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to do the curve shape over here and the stem over there. Feel free to add more details if you would like to. Maybe I want to add some kind of design on the bowl. Maybe I have some sort of triangular pattern. Maybe I want to add something to the background. Maybe this is in a room in a house and there's a window in the corner with a windowsill. It's really up to you what your details are. You can be very, very creative with what else you include in your picture. Feel free to also include some other fruit in your picture. Maybe you have some lemons, maybe you have some pears. It's really your choice. After you've finished in pencil, feel free to use an art supply like a Sharpie or a black crayon or any black marker will do to outline your pencil lines. I like to erase my pencil lines that are still visible after I've outlined, just to kind of neaten it up a bit and make my work look a little bit more professional. After you've outlined, you are ready to add color. You are welcome to use whatever art supplies that you have available at home to add color with. Maybe you have crayons at home. Maybe you have colored pencils. Maybe you have watercolor paint. It's up to you what you use. You can also use a combination of these materials if you have them on hand. Now, when you're coloring in the apples, I do have some tricks. Apples in real life are often not just one color. Sometimes they're many colors. Like this apple I have, it has red parts, it has yellow parts, and it has some parts that kind of mix to create orange. So try to use realistic apple colors when you're coloring in your apples. You are welcome to use more than one color. In fact, you can use more than one shade of a color. If you have crayons at home, you're going to notice that there's more than one different kind of orange. I have 2 different kinds of oranges. Something that I can do when I color in my apples is I can make one side one shade, and then I can use the other crayon, start on the opposite side of my apple, as you can see, and I'm trying to go as neatly as possible. I'm trying to stay in the lines, and I'm gonna overlap in the middle, so it kind of looks like my crayon, or my apple rather, is fading from dark orange to a lighter orange. It's a pretty neat trick. You can do that with different colors as well. They don't have to just be the same color family. I can use yellow and an orange to do that. And that's gonna be a little bit more dramatic actually. What I can do, and I hope you guys can see this is a pretty light color. What I'm gonna do on this apple is I'm gonna add one side yellow, the other side orange, and if I push really lightly with my crayon, I'm getting a lighter shade. Try to experiment with the pressure you're adding on your crayon. If I overlap in the middle, you can kind of see the fade from yellow to orange. Like I mentioned before, the pressure really helps with color. If I add a little bit more pressure on this side with my crayon, you'll notice that the color will get darker. So definitely experiment with that on your apples to make them look realistic. Some apples are also green in real life. Feel free to use different shades of green. You can even mix colors, like I've seen green and yellow apples before. Feel free to do some fun color combinations. Maybe this side is green. Maybe this side is yellow. If you have watercolor paint at home, you are also welcome to use watercolor paint to try this, and you can blend colors together. I can make it fade from green to yellow the same way with watercolor paint. The only thing I want to mention with watercolor paint is you have to be really careful with what material you use to outline with. If you use a regular black marker to outline, watercolor paint and the black marker will kind of mix together. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you outline with a Sharpie, which is a permanent art supply, or a black crayon. I can't find a black crayon in this crayon box to show you, but just know, oh, you got it, perfect. Just know that black crayon, or really any crayons, they don't mix with watercolor paint. So that would be kind of a perfect combination to go with crayon and paint. Now the rest of the picture, it's up to you how you color it. You can color the bowl any colors you want. You can color the table any color you want. Just be really mindful. Like for example, if this apple is orange, would I want to make the table orange? What would happen if I had an orange apple and an orange table? That's right, they might blend together. So be very mindful with the colors that you choose for the rest of the picture. The wall can be any color you want it to be. The details can be any color you want them to be. If you include details, it's up to you. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Have fun.